Hi, I'm Carl Bradley. I'm an extension plant pathologist with the University of Kentucky. I work here at the University of Kentucky Research and Education Center, or UKREC, in Princeton. Today I'm going to talk about southern stem canker of soybean. We're standing in a field here at the research station in Princeton looking at southern stem canker. You can see the symptoms are developing. You see plants that are starting to die. The foliar symptoms of this disease are going to look almost exactly like what you might see with sudden death syndrome. So you're going to see some yellowing on the leaves that are going to occur between the main veins. We call that interveinal chlorosis. Those yellow areas are going to die and turn necrotic, so we call that interveinal necrosis. So in other words, the main veins on the leaves are going to stay green, but the leaf tissue between those veins are going to die off. So it can be confused with sudden death syndrome because of almost the exact same symptomology. One of the biggest differences, or the biggest difference though, is that you need to, if you see these symptoms, then you need to start looking lower onto the stem. And what you'll see on the stem are brownish to reddish lesions that are going to occur, or dark areas that are going to occur on the stems. So these are the stem cankers that I was talking about, or the stem lesions. You can see they're dark in color. Lots of times these are going to start at a node and then spread from there. One thing that we have to be a little careful about is distinguishing these stem lesions from the lesions that are caused by Phytophthora root and stem rot. With Phytophthora root and stem rot, those dark lesions would start at the roots and then from the root area develop up through the stem. Whereas for southern stem canker, you're going to see those lesions occur kind of all over the stem and not start from the root and spread upwards. So this is southern stem canker. There's also a disease known as northern stem canker. We can have both diseases here in Kentucky. They are caused by two different species of pathogens that belong to the Diaporthae genus. In Kentucky, we seem to see that southern stem canker is a little bit more severe and can cause some problems like this. The risk is especially elevated on soybean fields that have not been rotated, especially some fields that have been grown continuously to soybean for a number of years in a row. This fungus overwinters or survives on the soybean debris that's left out there in the field, and so when you come back with soybean in that field, that risk is going to be elevated because the pathogen is right there. Wet weather is another risk factor, so seasons where we have a lot of moisture throughout the growing season is going to be very good for this pathogen, going to allow it to cause an infection. The other risk factor that we see is when we grow susceptible varieties. So there are differences in varieties, especially if you are growing soybean on soybean. It's very important that you choose a variety with a high rating for southern stem canker. The Kentucky Soybean Board over the last couple of years have funded us to look at varieties and fungicides for managing southern stem canker here in Kentucky. What we have found is that varieties is the #1 thing, that and crop rotation. So varieties, picking the right variety with a high level of resistance is very important. We also found that foliar fungicides really don't have that big of an impact on southern stem canker. So varieties and crop rotation are the two biggest things that you want to do to manage this disease.